This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions. What's up? Back with another one. So today I'm going to show you this clip of Joe reacting to 50 Cent producing a paid-in-full documentary. Check this out.
There was a tweet floating around that I wanted to ask you gentlemen about.
Let's hear it. What's up?
This is from a gentleman named The Black Sheep, who says...
Dress? Shout out to Dress.
No, this is not Dress, but shout out to him. It might be Dress. Let me check.
No, this is Dress.
It's not. Paid in Full will be developed into a TV show. Another show about drug dealing and degeneracy. Yay. The community will champion this and in the same breath be tired of slave movies, though.
I think it's
I thought it spawned an interesting conversation.
I think in the inner cities of America, we can relate to a lot of people identify with it. Nobody lived a slave life, so it's something that's unrelatable to a lot of people. Like you read it in historical context, but you didn't see it. You don't visually or emotionally tied to it. Like had uncles that was in the streets, or aunts that was getting high, or brothers that went to jail or was doing those things. So some of that takes you back to a time period that we actually lived.
So what you're saying is you understand one being romanticized.
No, I just think the relatability piece is what allows people to say, oh, okay, cool. Whereas the slave you said that we said, yo, we tired of slave movies, which I don't say, but we're tired of slave movies. I think people don't necessarily relate to the slave movies.
And not just that, in a lot of these, you know, Paid in Full, Power, all of that shit, they make the dealer look like the hero.
True.
The winner. True. Like, ain't no winner, ain't no black winners in slavery, in slave movies.
Nat Turner.
But they don't, in the slave movies, they don't make it look like they're not lifted up as
what dealer
the champion.
won in Power?
No,
I'm just saying that
the Ghost was a fly.
I mean, during the show.
Yeah, during the show.
Okay.
Fly in a nice penthouse, moved around in stealth kind of dope way. So,
but do you think that there are parallels between the content that y'all are referring to and the slave content?
I don't think that's what the question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Outside of them both, no. Outside of them both being, how can I say?
Because what they say about the slave movies
is we tired of seeing
is trauma. We continue to let these companies and these white people tell our story, which is the same story of slavery. How they depict us and why they depict us that way is to keep us programmed
to be subservient.
There's a whole
stay there.
So, but when do you think that there are parallels between that? And
because I think when you see Ghost, you see the opposite of that. Like if you see a slave movie and you see these being subservient, being whipped, being all of those things, and then you see Omari Hardwick putting on a tailor-made suit, walking outside,
owning the club,
looking like fly. Yeah, so I think
he won. It looks like
he won until the end. So I don't think the two are parallels. I think they both could be detrimental to our communities, but I just think that it's different. I think one is relatable and one is not, and so I think that's why I welcome that.
But is it the same result? Like in listening to y'all, one is dressed up, so it's pretty, but the result is jails, deaths, and institutions.
Yeah, I think the one is more dangerous.
Please expound.
Because, I mean, first, I get why people are
for some of the reasons they're saying, but go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people are drawn to heroes, right? Everybody wants to see themselves as a hero. And drug dealers are heroes. And we love outlaws. I mean, that's what made blaxploitation so great, is that you got to see beating people up, doing karate.
Beating up white people.
They were winning. Whatever winning looks like to you. And that's why we love the dealer, because there's agency in it. There's I get to determine my own destiny. I get to create my own path. And I get to quote unquote win. I think the problem with the slave movies, quote unquote, is not that people are enslaved. It's the kind of stories we tell. If we start making movies about people enslaved, sneaking to teach people to read, overcoming their oppressors, developing religious practices, making new cuisines. There's different kinds of stories about slavery you could tell where we would be heroes in it. We don't tell those stories. And I think to the point, Hollywood doesn't want those stories told. They want us to believe that we had a history that started with slavery, not a history that was interrupted by slavery. And so that's why they tell the story that way. I think these stories have a greater sense of empowerment attached to them, but the problem is the reason I say they're a greater detriment.
He read that little line somewhere. He smoked that line.
He might have wrote that line. That's Mase we talking about.
Let me just jump in real quick. This is interesting for a couple of reasons. Anytime you hear about 50 Cent and Cam'ron linking up for something like Paid in Full, especially as a TV series, you know people are going to pay attention. There's legacy behind that film.
Liz, that's you?
Y'all want to learn the truth?
Interruption, man.
Yo, see, here you go. You got a pamphlet on you.
What did he say again? What did he say? Say it one more time.
Slavery started our history. It didn't start our history. It just interrupted our history.
Yeah, nah.
That was fire. That was a bar right there.
You smoke that, man.
But if you think about like the problem with killer movies is you walk away feeling empowered, like, yo, I could be this person, that person, I can control my own destiny. But then you start to believe that dealing is a real path out, and it's not. I mean, for 99% of the people, you end up incarcerated, and you lose sight of the fact that you're in the whole community to do it. And we romanticize the dealer and demonize the addict. You know what I mean? As if they're, you get what I'm saying? As if they're not connected. You can't have one without the other. So when you had that kind of relationship, it's even more dangerous to me than the slave movies. So I'd rather see 10 slave movies than 10 dealer movies.
Well, that's where I jump off, but I agree with your points before that.
At that level. I'm saying at the level of if I had to pick one, I think we can do both. I don't dislike, I will love all the movies, but if I had to pick one in terms of what's going to do less harm to us, I'd rather us learn about the history of slavery than have a bunch of Nino Browns.
There you have it.
And I don't think that's just applicable to us with regards to the dealer movies because we praise white movies tremendously. All of the white movies that worship dealing, organized crime, violence, everybody, Godfather's in everybody's top 10. Love Heat, love Casino, love all of these movies. When a white person is being portrayed as the quote unquote gangster or bad guy, we give them critical acclaim. When we are being portrayed as the quote unquote bad guy, we look at it with a skewed view.
I think that takes the conversation elsewhere because there are no white slave movies.
I said I took away the slave piece. I'm talking about just the gangster.
If you take away the slave piece, then we love it. We love all the movies. If you take away the slave piece, I think the point.
But they don't look at them like they detrimental. They don't look at Godfather like it's detrimental. They don't look at Heat like it's detrimental. They don't look at Casino like it's detrimental.
What's up? So what are my thoughts about this? Here's the thing. When you take two iconic figures like 50 Cent and Cam'ron and put them in the same creative space, especially around something as culturally significant as Paid in Full, it sparks a wave of curiosity and excitement. The original film means a lot to different people for different reasons. Some see it as a storytelling classic, others as a cultural timestamp. So, naturally, when a television adaptation is in the works, and Joe Budden gives his take on it, people tune in because he tends to provide perspectives that balance entertainment with insight. What makes this moment even more compelling is the idea of legacy, not just the legacy of the movie, but the legacies of the artists involved. 50 has had major success transitioning into television, and Cam'ron brings his own unique energy and history to the project. Joe doesn't really say things just to stir things up. He often highlights how business moves like these reflect where hip-hop and entertainment are evolving. Some viewers might feel nostalgic, while others are curious about how the story will be told from a new angle. Joe's reaction captures that mix of excitement and skepticism that's pretty common when beloved projects are being reimagined. It's not about whether the show will be better than the movie, it's more about how it will stand on its own. And while Joe doesn't claim to speak for everyone, his breakdown taps into conversations happening all across the culture. You can see how people are already debating casting, storyline choices, and even whether certain moments should be included. It's a sign that this series already matters to people, and that matters. Okay, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment, and also like this video. I'll see you in the next video.